Very good. And a
Let
three,
us,
and a two, and a one.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard,
My name is DJ Swirl.
and this is the Sober Swole podcast. Before we get started, I'd love to give a shout out to Royalty Nutrition, and to help me out along with that is Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Royalty Nutrition. They are a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that does its best to focus on your wellness. Yes, they do make great pre-workouts and fat burners and stuff that helps you sleep, your standard bro subs, but they go out of their way to make sure they're not using the cheap dog doo-doo ingredients that aren't good for you. Check them out and use the discount code 37HAKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My next shout out of the evening will be to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with a Z.com. They're a fitness apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym, as well as making great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Use the discount code Jake15 to save you 15% on that entire order. My last shout out of the evening will be to the FitOps Foundation. That's fitops.org. They are a not-for-profit organization that helps veterans rediscover their purpose after their active duty service to this country. Yes, it'll help you get a step up in the fitness industry, but if you don't go into the fitness industry, you will also learn great life skills that just helps you cope with being a civilian again. And with that, I think I'm just going to let old DJ Swirl talk about this buy-to-buy conglomerate that he has built.
Thank you, sir. Buy to buy. Whether you purchase something in store or online, we basically take care of you when you don't have the time, the towing, or the muscle to move it to where you need it to be. So from the time you buy until the time we say goodbye, we take that burden off your shoulder. You can find us at buytobuy.com. That's BUYTOBYE.com. If you search us, if you at buy to buy anywhere, you're going to find us. That includes Google. That includes on the search engines. And actually, if you do it there, it'll take you directly to us. Because if you try to put buy to buy in, guess what you get? In sync. Buy. And nobody wants that unless they're looking for that. So, yeah. And also, Buy to Buy Studios is the passion project of mine, which is an extension, which is what you're watching right now. Working on a show with my father called Beats That Bind Us that I'm really excited to get in the mix. I just scheduled, working on scheduling an interview with the radio station from back home regarding the show. So already getting things moving. I had a 2-hour long conversation with my father today, tightening up details and sharing bits and pieces of stories that we never did, like in preparation, trying to figure out what we were going to talk about, and it turned into, and it happens every time. So it's something that I'm looking really forward to. This show, I've helped a few other folks, and if you are in need of someone to operate the controls from afar, because that's what I'm doing. I'm at my house, Jake's at his, and we do this. We try to do this. Let me asterisk that. We try to do this every week. But yeah, so and that's at Buy to Buy Studios everywhere that you are as well. So that is my shameless plug.
Sorry, I'm still shameless plugging away here.
No, you go for it.
Sending links to folks.
That's awesome.
Partying hard.
So while you type away, can you describe the level of pain that you are currently experiencing from your car accident?
Currently, I am uncomfortable.
Okay.
Is the best way to put it. I actually skipped my bone cracker appointment today because we were at the dealerships for so long.
Yeah.
But I've been seeing a chiropractor at least twice weekly, and now they're working in massages and stretching once a week. I was doing better, a lot better for 2 days. And then last night I was cleaning up after Ruth, and my God, did that just about put me right back on my ass. Honestly, the worst part about it is my legs are so damn tight right now that it just it's uncomfortable to sit too long. It's uncomfortable to stand. It's uncomfortable to walk around, just because whoa. There we go. Sorry about that. Had a loop going on, but no, it's weird, especially because I've been so used to being in tune with my body for so many years.
Yeah.
That it's just, I know stuff's still not right, and it's frustrating to say the least.
I hear that.
But I mean, I'm better. Honestly, I am better. It's just I'm not as better as I'd like to be.
So how does that work with your insurance?
Well, they're paying for all this, so shout out to them.
But your current condition is preventing you from being able to proceed with your normal physical regimen, correct?
Absolutely. I think that's something we're going to look into as well. I'm not talking about, going full blown to court, but I mean, there has to be something. I can't even pick up side gigs with you when I have the time. It wouldn't even.
Right.
I could stand outside and cheer,
And I just had another conversation with one of the network of drivers I work with, and there's another opportunity that I had you in mind as an extension of, and it works even better than what the other platforms currently offer. But
yeah.
again, until you're healthy, like I don't want to, and it's potentially even less physically demanding. So I'm still looking into it. I literally have to download the app or the SaaS, software as a service, after we get off of here. But
Okay.
yeah, there's that you should be accommodated for, because that is a big part of who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Big part.
I mean, and it's like, I can't. It's hard for me to play with the kids,
Sure.
and if there's one thing I'm good for, it's I'll always entertain a let's wrestle or play or throw me
Right.
around kind of thing,
Yep.
So that sucks, but it is what it is, So Britt took today off. We went car shopping all day.
Fun times.
Good. So one of the specifications I gave her was, obviously it's a pretty big family, so we can't get just a regular sedan and call it good.
Sure.
Even with most SUVs, there has to be a third row. But one of my things I told her is, like, we have to have we have to have a front seat, the front seats, and both back seats have to be bench seats.
Got you.
They just have to be, because I mean, we're going to have car seats for the next 5 years. Dude, I wish. Drew Cook says homie's going to buy a brand new Mercedes SUV.
There it is.
Shoot. I ain't never been about stuff. Till now. But because, we're going to have car seats for at least the next 5 years.
Right.
On top of the stepkids they're not getting any smaller. So, I mean, there has to be a place where we can put the car seats on top of accommodating their growth. So no, but I had to, I had to suck it up because basically within our price range and what's going on, it was time for the minivan.
Sure.
So we went minivan shopping, and we went out to Phoenix, out there. The dealerships on Camelback. The first one just didn't have what we were looking for, kind of thing. The second one just didn't have what we were looking for either. And here I'm going to rag on the Hyundai dealership on Camelback. I hope you go out of business. Just based on this sales interaction I had with this one guy, and then the manager who came out to try and bail him out.
Yep.
So as we're pulling into the dealership, there was a salesman waiting as we pull in to get us to stop. Right. Yeah. So I stopped and he's like, hey, like he's a young man. This is obviously probably his first sales gig. So I mean, I'll give him some credit there. Okay. And he's trying, so I gotta give the young man learning his craft at least a nod.
Good on you.
Okay. So he tells us, well, why don't you pull over here and I'll talk to you. And so we get out of the car and he introduces himself. I can't even remember his name, but he sticks out his hand, and it was like his handshake was so weak it caught me off guard.
Oh no.
So he reaches in, and it was just like soft, like when you meet a lady for the first time, and like kind of like
dainty.
Oh, hello, dainty, right? And so I had to like double check. So I like let go, and I reached back in and re-grabbed it. Like, are you sure about that?
Oh.
Like was it me? Did I like miss like the hand connection? Maybe that's what happened. No, it was just
underwhelming.
Yeah, it was confusing. Like I was immediately like,
What if he would have grabbed like just your fingers and done and just like didn't shake your hand, but just did like a hand hug, like a halfway? Would you have been cool with that?
No, I mean maybe. I don't know.
No, it's just that like that's one of like those old school unwritten rules, like, right? Have a firm handshake, blah 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 blah. So like,
yeah,
the fact that the person who greets you can't fit that bill, I don't know if that's a sign of the times or.
Well, and then Britt, as he's walking around getting us ready to come inside, she goes, "I crushed his hand."
So she was underwhelmed as well.
Yeah. And if there's one thing about Brittany, it's like when she grabs your hand, she grabs that fucker, and she's like, "I'm here."
That's funny.
And so anyway, he takes us inside, and what are you looking for? What's your what's your price range? And of course, we lowballed him. Yeah. We're not showing our hand right off the gate, because what rookie does that?
What 18? Your ceiling is 18 grand.
And he goes, "Oh, I have the perfect vehicle for you."
Thanks. Right into the routine.
And so, okay, he's like, "We go take it for a drive?" And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "And I'll show you around." And the key fob's not working.
Strike one.
To show me the things. And he's like, "I'll have to get this key reprogrammed. I'm sorry about that. But hey, look, check this out. There's a key in it. We can at least get it started and, show you around." First off, this car is Dookie gold colored. Like
Dookie gold. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a shiny Dookie is what the color of this car was. It was whatever the Honda minivan's called.
He showed you the ugliest car on the lot first?
Okay, let me tell you the mistakes this man made.
Okay. Key fob.
It shows me the ugliest key fob. Car won't start. Car's ugly as sin. Then he goes, "Oh, it's been sitting here for 90 days.
Man, he's not trying at all.
Okay, so it's ugly. It won't start. And you haven't moved it in 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, I'm already like, nope. So this is a used car. Christ knows really what happened to it beforehand. On top of you haven't moved it in 90 days. What if there's, bubbles in the brake line? air bubbles in the brake line.
Yeah.
All of the fluids have been sitting here. Okay. And so he gets one of the guys to come out and jump it. So he starts it. He goes, okay, let's take it for a spin.
Dang.
And so I go, okay. And I'm immediately, if I don't have a poker face, and so I'm immediately already just annoyed to the ends of the earth about this.
Yep.
And he takes this, and I go and I drive him around. He's telling me where to turn. This thing turns like an old wooden ship with a broken rudder. Dang. Like the turn radius on it is terrible. Like it's not like not the power steering, like the width and how the van itself is built is like, I'm gonna die in this thing.
Right.
Like, and so we take it back and he goes, well, what do you think? And I was like, I don't like this at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I tell you, like, I don't like this vehicle at all. And he goes, okay, well, would you like to see some other ones that we have? And I said, yeah, because maybe it's his first day, and maybe on this lot there's a vehicle that might fit. Like I really wasn't trying to be out there all day like we were.
Right.
And so he takes me to this exact same type of van, but black with more miles on it. And he says, oh, this one, it has 65,000 miles on it, but it's a Honda, so you don't really have to worry about miles. And I said, our mile limit's not negotiable, dude. Oh, okay. And so he then proceeds to show me two other of the same van. And I'm like, I'm done. We're going to leave. And I was like, and I was still through all of this, I was still courteous. I was like, give me your business card. And,
yep.
Let's end this on a positive note. You can show your boss, you hand me your business card and we'll be out the door. Right.
Yep.
Like just me still trying to give this guy a professional courtesy. No, he calls his fucking jamoke goober looking manager out. And I'm not trying to disparage the man, but homie looks like a goober. And this guy was like, what can we do to get you into one of our cars today?
Oh, yikes, man.
And of course, our rental's this gorgeous Yukon, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, that's the trade-in. I'll give you whatever you want today and then some cash. I was like, I wouldn't be trading this thing if it was my car. I fucking love this thing.
Nice.
Oh, understandable. So, like, what's the issue? Is it like the amenities? Is like, I don't like these vans. And he's, oh, well, I mean, listen, this isn't the best van on the market right now. It's either this or a Chrysler Pacifica or like a Dodge Caravan. But like, this is what we have on the lot, and this is the best van available. Blah 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 blah. And I said, that's great, man. I'm done dealing with your dealership.
Right.
And this is as his kid's fiddling in his wallet. Here's my card.
Yikes.
Oh.
And that was where again?
This was
Camelback?
whatever Honda on Camelback in Phoenix, man. Dude.
Oh, boy.
So we're like, screw it. Let's go to Gilbert. And let's go. Because Brittany's bought a few cars at CarMax before. Mm-hmm. She's like, CarMax usually, even if it's online, they may have something that might fit. And, let's go check it out. Like, let's go check it out. And that's not a traditional dealership. The guy's like, oh, here's the car. Look at it. Let me know. Right.
Right.
Because it's mostly online stuff. And you just go and pick up your car. Right. And so, the van they had it didn't have the kind of seating we needed, and the other stuff that they had would have been too small or way out of our price range. Mm-hmm. So this was fun. We needed a nice walk. Thank you. So that was dealership number 4. We swing by Santan Bill Luke, I think is what it's called. There's and boom, right there. They had this gorgeous red Chrysler Pacifica, had everything we needed on it, blah, 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 blah. And then because I had made some debit card purchases that day, I called Chase because like we took it for a drive. It drove perfect. Everything about it was great. Britt liked it. I agreed to it. and all it had left to do was just filling out the paperwork, and then we were already pre-approved for our loan through USAA. So all we had to do was just get everything done, right?
Nice.
Well, so the salesman says, "Hey, be sure to check with your bank and make sure that you have if you're using your bank card, make sure your limit is right." I'm like, that's a good call.
Right.
So I call them and I'm like, "Hey, I need to raise it." And they're like, "Okay, well, we can raise it to that, but you made some purchases today, so we're gonna have to bump it up to that and $100." And I can't do that. I'll have to put you in contact with someone in our fraud department, and they can do it. Okay, thanks, Chief. And then so they transfer me to the fraud department. I used to work in a fraud department. I know these people. Rock on.
Yep.
And that person was like, "Can't do it."
Wow.
Because your check is cleared and your funds are available to use, but they're not officially in your bank account yet.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. So what we ended up doing was I transferred a bunch of money over to Britt's account, and we ended up splitting the payment with 2 cards instead of just the one. And that took another, because of the hoops and the jumping through hoops, it took another like hour on top of. We've been out and about since dropping the kids off this morning at school at 7. So yeah. I left the house at 7, and I hadn't really been back to the house since 7 in the morning, except to like get Brittany and the little girls.
Right.
So we're sitting there. It's like 5:00. And I'm like, ugh. We didn't get out of there till like 6:15ish. But hey, yeah, I am the now proud owner of a red Chrysler Pacifica.
So what was the total time frame you spent today?
Whatever. I didn't get home until I didn't get home until 7:15. So I've been out of the house for a full 12 hours, really just driving around and dealing with other people.
Yeah.
Not making any money, spending a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man, that was my day. That was my whole day.
Well, I'm glad that you found through all of that, you actually found a vehicle that you liked and then was able to drive home with. Because I can't go on a car lot right now. I have no business being on one, but like my last experience was okay, and it was the best. And yeah, that's the best experience I've ever had. So, but yeah, I'm not a fan of everybody, like the forced interaction, we'll give you water, tea, like a snack or something like that's supposed to make you want to pay thousands more for this vehicle. It's just an antiquated system that, they literally they can deliver cars to your door right now. Like the spectrum between what you experienced and what people try to do now, there's a lot of trust involved in that.
Well, so I was telling Brittany, it's like I love car dealerships. I love that interaction because it's making a deal.
Yeah,
and it's me and my brain, which is geared towards selling something, and their brain geared towards selling something, and them trying to convince me to buy it, and me trying to convince them to make me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I like that give and take talk. So, but no, man, that fucking jamoke at the Honda dealership really chapped my ass. It really ruined my day. I want to give a shout out to Abu at at the what dealership was that?
Is that his
Damn
real
it.
name?
Yes, at the Toyota dealership. He's not from here, but that was my dude. He was like the first guy straight up didn't try to push us on anything. He saw that we didn't have what we needed, and he didn't bullshit us, and he basically told us to have a good day.
Yep.
Fucking respect. Thank you. Abu was like, "Let's walk around the lot. We'll figure this out. We got, we could do this." And I was like, "I like your energy." And he wasn't pushy. He was like, "Look at this. What do you think? No. Look at this. What do you think? No. Look at this. What do you think? No. Look at this. What do you think? Well, do you have it like this? No. Hey, I'll call you in a couple days when the shipment gets here." It's like, "Okay, man." But
Yeah.
it wasn't pushy. It was like, "How can I help you? How can I make this sale?" So I was like, "I like you a lot." And yeah, if it wasn't for those goddamn turds at at the Honda dealership, it would have been a pretty decent day. Long day, but
Right.
maybe like hate Honda. I've never had that in my. Now I will never own a Honda in my life.
Jeez.
And based on my track record, here in a couple years, I'll be shopping again. So
Right.
you just lost business, good sir. Tell me about business, man. How's it been?
It's going, man. Like I was talking about earlier, I have some other options that are like presenting themselves that never thought they would or didn't, it's just not part of how I drew up my business model. So, um, but there are so many other entities that are popping up that the majority of them have welcomed the idea that actual businesses and other LLCs are on their platforms for work. So it's, in terms of, um, what's the word I'm looking for? In terms of loyalty, it's you feel like a mercenary out there. Like you're just taking work as it comes, and if it suits, what you want to do. So, um, I did a job today that I didn't have anything to do with. Didn't set anything up. Just showed up at the time I was supposed to. Like the guys who helped me, and it was for a guy who has helped me in the past. So like, I'm forming those partnerships outside of an actual, an official agreement or arrangement, um, for the sake of having work, and it's worth our time, and um, it's only expanding from there. So my I'm having a huge shift from where I was this time last year. This time last year, I didn't have to do any time by advertising. I wasn't, I had an arrangement set up, had arrangements set up that really played well into what I wanted to do, and everything was up on the up and up. And then, boom goes the dynamite. So, um, just rebuilding. The brand is strong. Um, the the opportunities that I'm getting every time I do work for someone, it leaves I leave with a lasting good impression. So yeah, man, it's just keep my head down and working until I find the thing that allows me to settle down. But I'm all for digging in and figuring out how to continue to grow after a rebound. So
I get you. Well, what do you need to do advertising wise, or you know what? Talk to me after the show.
okay.
Let's. What can Jake do for you?
What can Jake do for you exactly? Yeah, there's yeah, I'll definitely talk to you about the show after the show.
Yeah, let's get you thriving, buddy.
Well, I mean, I had ideas for you, but it included your back, and so since we can't include your back, let's use that big beautiful brain of yours.
Man,
Oh, speaking of pop crack appointments, I have a massage envy card from Christmas that's calling my name.
hell yeah.
I gotta get that taken advantage of.
So I have no idea how much chiropractic anything costs outside of what's going on
Right.
because I've never gone. But the people at Ironwood Chiropractic out here,
Yeah.
they're fucking amazing.
Nice.
Yes, like they're really good, and like they made the kids feel comfortable. I feel super comfortable. Like it's at the like I have no problem with a man who I don't know outside of this business just popping my neck.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and that's hard for me to do.
That's a
Like, because
confidence
I don't.
booster. Yeah.
Well, I don't like strangers touching me. But from like session one, I was like, this dude's dope. Whatever, do what you
Right.
gotta do. and that's a big deal for me. So I mean, if you're looking for a really cool, comfortable experience, Ironwood Chiropractic, I would suggest.
Very nice.
Oh, their massage guy. The guy who did my massage last week is he's a Army Airborne 101st Airborne veteran,
Nice.
like on the not doing paperwork side of the airborne. So we got to laugh and joke, and he was telling me Afghanistan stories, and we were talking about Iraq stuff, and he was telling me about where he came from and how he ended up, and that was really cool too, because that's another big deal with me. Like I really don't like people I don't know touching me,
Makes sense.
and like unless I'm trying to get to know you, I'll give you a hug if that's the case. That's as far as that'll go. But like, if we're having hey, I'm gonna be feeling your legs and up and lay here and trust me, like,
Yep.
gonna have some issues. But like, no, their whole staff is so comforting. I think that's the
Accommodating. Like
yeah,
make
and
people that make you feel or they're hospitable. They make you
mhm,
feel comfortable in their space. That's awesome.
yep.
I know
So
I know the one experience I had with the joint chain. I think it was in Gilbert, and I think I told you about it. Like the dude was talking shit to me the whole time. He was like, "How old are you?" I was like, 30. I'll be 38 this year. He's like, "This the first time you've ever done this?" Yeah, man. That's what I'm telling you. I can tell.
mm,
Okay, cool. And then he's like trying to do certain things and it's not giving him the result he wants, and so he's like, yeah, because you've never been here, because you've never gone to one of these before, like it's going to take some work to get to where we need to be. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I don't know why you got to be a dick about it, but I'm
yeah,
listening. So yeah, no, his I guess that's his
his,
table side manner was not very good.
yeah, yeah. This dude, my guy walked up, was like, yeah, bro, snap, crackle, lay here, crack, pop, pop, sure. Okay, see you next week. And that was like like my first time going to see them was my first time at a chiropractor. Like,
Yeah.
I think your dude just sucked.
Yeah, no, I'm not shitting on the practice of chiropractic or however you pronounce that, but um yeah, no, the my experience was terrible and I won't go, and I've driven by that location on multiple I've driven by there on multiple occasions and needing balance, needing to be adjusted, and my first thought is my first experience, and I always drive,
Mhm.
I keep going. So I'll go somewhere else, but not there.
Well, so have I told you my massage in 29 Palms story and why me getting massages is a big deal?
No.
Okay, so we were getting ready to go on our second deployment, and no, no, it was my first deployment, and we were like, you know what? We haven't been to one of these massage parlors out in town. Let's go see what it's about.
Right.
And of course, guys they're like, oh, we're gonna get jacked off by these people over here. Because let's face it,
That is
that's why we went.
that is a business model that attracts attention. Yes.
And it stood the test of time. But we go in, and my boy gets the cute lady, the other guy gets the other cute lady. My turn comes up, and it's like the oldest woman I've ever seen.
Age-wise,
Yep.
like
Yep.
like the grandma from Coco.
No, you know this the saying, it's black don't crack and Asian don't raisin.
I've heard, yes.
Okay, well, Asian definitely does raisin after it hits a certain age, and
It was
and
prunish.
it's intense and quick from my understanding. And so anyway, like the massage, I don't know anything about it, but like I'm relaxing, I'm having a good time. Like I'm like, oh, this is great. I should do this more often. Wow, I can feel myself like relaxing. I haven't, I'm 18 years old, and this is the first time I've ever relaxed. This is great. And she's like, okay, lay on your back, and she's doing her thing, and they're like, this is phenomenal. This is great. This lady's been massaging for 800 years or whatever,
Oh, no.
and like this is the most relaxed. I'll come back just to see this lady. This is great. This is really nice. And she takes the towel down, and I'm exposed under the towel,
Sure.
and she hand taps my dick. Tap tap. You want?
Wow.
And I went, no, thank you. And and that was my first massage experience, and that put me off to it for a long, long time.
That would, yeah, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Like I was just mortified.
Man.
Because she had to be at least 80, dude. Like, at minimum. Like,
I mean, in terms of experience, was she not the most qualified in the room?
I mean, she had to have been an artist,
Let's look at this from a from a logical standpoint. If you're going somewhere to be serviced, obviously there's a level of attractiveness that will help with the execution. However, there are tropes out there that say certain demographics perform the best, and if you have had a long amount of time in order to get practice in, did you just turn down the best one you would have ever had?
I probably did. What was it?
I'm not trying to shame. I'm not trying to shame you or judge you, bro. I'm just simply
Yeah.
looking at it from a different side.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like,
It's math. It's math. That's it.
She was probably a jizz extraction artist,
Oh,
like
no.
on levels that you could never comprehend.
I'm just thinking logistically. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
I mean,
you wouldn't have had to coach her. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, you practice one kick. What is it? What is it? Was it 100,000 times you're the master of that one kick? Like,
Yeah. And I mean, her confidence level, like, and
I know.
how casual. You want to talk about hospitable? She did. There was no. I mean, someone her age. Are you waiting for like a warm up? Or are you just gonna get down into business?
Well, like I assume there would be signs of where the gentleman will be relaxed enough, where blood is flowing a little bit more freely.
Oh, there's gotta be guys who appreciate her presence for the reasons I just stated.
Hey, not to kink shame, do your thing.
Yeah, I doubt they were 18. I doubt they were fresh off the boat.
Yeah, but it wasn't me. It was not.
Yeah,
it was
no.
not me. And that, but I didn't go see. I didn't go see. I didn't go see anyone that did massage until I was already living. So that was in 2010. 2011. And I didn't go see 2007. It was in 2007. And I didn't go see anybody again until I was already living around Austin. And like my forearm was popping and wouldn't cramp, and I couldn't like grip weights anymore.
Yeah.
So I went and talked to the big guy that trained all the pros at the gym at the time. And his name was Big Dave, RIP. And I was like, I'm broken. and I don't know what to do because I obviously haven't been in this business as long as you have, and I'm kind of retarded. And he was like, yeah, man, here's the number to my massage lady. Just go see her, and she'll fix it.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So like pretty much. So that was like 2016, right? So almost a decade later, I was like, I'm willing to try this again.
Right. I mean, there's definitely some people who would never give that the light of day or the time of day. I know my buddy who is he was in the Air Force, and he spent some time uh, over in Hong Kong in that area, and he told me that the hospitality was way better than what you just explained. Um, like he showed up in the room, and he's the kind of guy who he was in his early 20s and got plenty of attention on his own, and then being overseas in the military, like it's part of the program, right? So
Mhm.
he goes into these spaces comfortable in his skin, and so he's like, yeah, man, there's, there was a nice there were nice linens laid out. There's a table, and she led me into where we were going, and she's like, there's a shower right there, go ahead and get in the shower. And so then she went and got, there were two showers, and so she got in one too. And so then they took care of business, and then they showered again afterwards, and they left. He was like, he didn't feel dirty. I was like, doesn't sound like it, man.
Sounds like a very clean experience.
Does not sound like it. So, and depending on your circumstance and how you roll, no shame in that game.
I knew a cat that got kicked out of the Marine Corps, who lost his virginity at one of the massage places out there in town.
That was the reason why he got booted.
No, he got booted because he popped for like ecstasy on
Ooh,
a piss test. But that was his. I'm not going to Iraq a virgin. So he went and got the super
ah,
massage.
is that pretty common?
Uh, honestly, I'd assume so if you're like the kind of person that like doesn't talk to women.
Sure,
um,
sure.
I've heard stories of guys who are their friends have purchased them a prostitute because one of the big superstitions is you can't go to war a virgin because you'll be the first one to die.
Ooh, okay.
That was one of the things. That was one of the things that was spread around pretty heavily in our unit. So and I was like, I'm good. So I mean, I've heard stuff like that, but I've never. That was the first time because you knew if you went to a certain spot or one of the spots that it would at least be offered, right?
Right.
But never the full blown penetration thing, you know. So I mean, great.
Right, right.
Oh, yeah, but he ended up getting kicked out for trying to party too hard.
I'm sure that I'm sure he's one of many.
One of many, and there's surprisingly not a lot of us got caught. There was a bunch of people that did get caught, but like it probably should have been more.
Right.
if we're being honest. But if you pop everybody, you're not going to have a fighting force.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because what was real bad was when we got back from Ramadi was when the coke ring was being ran.
Mm,
And it involved a guy that I was in the School of Infantry with, and some other people that he trusted, and some connects from out in town.
nuts.
And I mean, like there was a like, we got back from Ramadi. Like that was the first time I'd ever seen cocaine, and there was a fucking bunch of it everywhere
Yeah.
for a while. And yeah, the first drug I ever knowingly did was coke. Like there was that much of it in the barracks at one point. They were
I,
just like,
I,
here.
I, under the narrative of you putting your life on the line for the country, like there's like an assumption that you guys are going to blow off steam somehow,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
And
yeah.
if you're occupying in a country where that where people in our country are part of that process or benefiting from it, seems like an obvious, an obvious cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you started talking about it, I immediately got like the image of, soldiers from Vietnam, like,
Mm-hmm.
and, the movies that they monetize out of that. So it's like, and, they make it a point to tell you that it's based on a true story. So, yeah, you believe it. Maybe not the extent to the circumstances happen, but
Was
the context, absolutely.
the amount of guys from Vietnam that were really just trying to numb Vietnam out of their heads with
Just to
heroin
cope it, yeah.
was fucking staggering, and it's sad. Um, but that actually brings me to something I wanted to touch on a little bit too. So Vietnam, they had like the Agent Orange, and the Agent Orange wasn't the only chemical they sprayed on the plants. By the way, there was a whole bunch of them.
Gotcha.
All those weird diseases and cancers that they caused. It is one thing I will give the president a bump for is he talked about the VA tackling burn pit illnesses,
Yeah.
and I've been telling people since we were in Iraq, I was like, this is going to be our fucking Agent Orange. This is going to this right here. This is going to be the weird cancers and the deformed kids and the funky shit. This is going to be what it is, and this is what's going to cause it. I've heard forever. Shut up, dude. People have been burning their shit forever. But with the contract company actually got sued a couple of years ago and had to like pay back their contract money, and I think can't operate in with American forces anymore.
Yeah.
But the company that was supposed to be handling our human waste and garbage just didn't the whole time.
Yeah.
And there's certain areas where I can understand why they wouldn't, because you don't want to be driving those trucks out in those streets. But like when you're on the big bases and that's your job, that's what you should be doing. But I mean, we were burning plastic, shit, piss. Some people would throw rounds away and they'd cook off kind of shit. There was JP8. It's the type of fuel we used for everything, from our vehicles to our generators to our fire starters. Um, Random animals, food waste, like everything, and we burnt it. And then we have to mix up the dirt and move it. Like we have to mix up the ashes and move it on top of. Like it was bad, Doug. Like the crap we were breathing, like batteries, like the
Right.
lithium batteries, truck batteries and shit. Like, so I mean So I'll give him a serious thanks for bringing that to the country's attention. I know a
Right.
bunch of people heard about it for the first time ever. So thanks, President Biden. Um, I will condemn the shit out of those dumb broads that took that as an opportunity to scream about the Afghanistan 13.
Are you
I
talking about
understand.
the cackling hens?
Yes, I will. I understand. Listen, I am full. Yes, that is something that should be brought up, and it was a catastrophic failure of the United States military as a whole, from the top person, which is the commander in chief, all the way down to anybody that had any type of charge there. A catastrophic failure. But more than likely, Bo Biden, his cancer was caused from something along that, with those
Right.
kinds of chemicals. Okay,
Yep.
like more than likely, let's just say that. And it'd take the opportunity from the president of the United States to say, here's what I believe led to possibly my son's cancer that killed him, and what is killing other veterans, and taking that opportunity to be like,
Yep. Performance
that's
theater.
disgraceful. That's disgraceful.
Yep.
Coming from the party that's for the veterans. Yes, the 13 military members that died during that failed abortion of an extraction definitely deserve to be highlighted and given their due justice. But that wasn't the platform.
Yep.
And then everybody knows that, man.
It
And
it makes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
if you don't know it, you're just sipping the Kool-Aid because you're just upset and you
Yeah.
can't get over.
You're poor sport, like sportsmanship. Like just think of it in terms of that, because politics works the same way as fandom does, right? So it's
Yep.
like you root for your team, you're diehard, blah 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 blah, right? And they make an identity out of that, which is kind of like saying I don't have a personality. So
Right.
here's all of this stuff out loud and upfront obnoxious, so that way I'm very clear on who I want you to think I see myself as. So it's like, okay, but at the same time, um, it makes me think of like the whole Colin Kaepernick situation, like just the idea that the big narrative was it's not the right time and place to do it. So you're going to ruin this man's professional career off of the basis you don't agree of when he's doing what he's doing, not even how he's doing it, and then you fast forward to that. You just watch it, and as someone who remains independent and follows policy, um, but also someone who played sports for a long period of time in my life, there's a way that you can be an opponent and not be a bitch about it.
Hmm.
And they went out of their way. They not only use their platform, but then they use the energy of the rah rah from the keyboard warriors who support them and fund them. They did it all for show. They did it all, and because like, and you remember the meme from Pelosi when she was like doing that hand clap behind Trump.
Yeah.
It's like you took that and then put it on. It's on steroids. Like, it's nuts. And so the whole hypocrisy of there's a cadence to how this is all supposed to go in tradition, and then when you're just a sore loser and you spend all of your energy being pouting essentially. So it's like, and they already were problematic. They already have a track record, and they just keep escalating it. It's for show, right? You have to
Hmm.
be more and more dramatic and more, and they're being exploited. Like, it's Women's History Month, and that's how you gonna start it out?
Hmm.
Oh man! And
I
then their peers who just let it happen. What does it say about them?
dude,
Oh, I can't talk. I can't speak for them. You ought to. Nuts.
let's I've stated it plenty of times. I'm a libertarian. I'm more the the more I get into it, the the more I truly want to be left alone, to a point where I'm like, I don't care if this whole country collapses. Like like I'm leaning more towards, like, anarchy sounds pretty cool right now.
Man,
like
the purge. It's the
like just whatever.
it's the conditioning. They're wearing you thin, so that way they can continue to do exploitative stuff on the low.
Well, I was telling Brittany last night, because we were talking about possible scenarios with what's going on with Russia and the Ukraine. And I was like, honestly, I hope this whole country gets EMP'd.
Oh man.
And she goes, what does that mean? I was like, technology stops working. Like nothing with electronics works. She
Yeah.
goes, that doesn't freak you out? I'm like, no, that would be the greatest gift I've ever been given. And she goes, what do you mean? I was like, we will be just fine. And she goes, do we even have all the stuff in this house? I was like, baby, yeah. Like, it,
Yeah, you know where the grocery store is. You
yeah.
can make a trek over there and stand in line and get your stuff you need. You can go to the bank. You can.
You kidding? I will camo up and I will be in those freaking hills so quick. It's like coming
Man.
coming back with a pack mule that I traded a man a nice knife for, carrying my spoils that I hunted back with me. Like,
I mean, just think
like,
of. I just think of all of the people in like gated communities that live there for the false sense of security that they're safe if something really goes down. You don't think people are gonna flood those residences like
no,
with
hell no.
pitchforks? I mean, they had pitchforks and khakis after Charlottesville. Like they're
Yeah,
going to come a knocking, and all the Second Amendment people, it's like, yeah, I get you. You're gonna fend off. It's like the zombie apocalypse, right? Except for it'll be like
yeah,
actual aware people just
yeah.
trying to survive. And yeah, man, it'll be real messy, real
I
messy.
told her, I was like, I'd be cool with that too. Look, we're gonna be fine. Look, you don't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah,
Like, we've got guns, we've got ammo, and I'm not scared. Like,
but just
that'd
think
be the
about that.
best.
If you do that as well, all of your financial obligations that are electronically dictated, they all disappear.
Gun, gun.
They disappear. So it's like,
Student loans. What are those? Like,
dude,
you want student loan cancellation? Get on board with Jake. Let's
how
go.
however, if you don't have your cash out, that's where it becomes a problem. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
if you've got your cash out, if you've got you got a rainy day fund that's liquid, you're fine. But yeah, if you've got a lot of capital wrapped up, a lot of your portfolio is electronic based. All your Dogecoin goes bye bye.
It's all out the window.
Yeah, it's protected, and once they reboot or whatever that means after the fact, like the ledgers is concrete, right? It's not going to change. So
Mhm.
even if a disruption would be, it would be okay at some point afterwards if it got back up. But like, yeah, for people that aren't, or for entities that aren't prepared in terms of backups or whatever, like most of my problems are money related. So it's like,
Mhm.
if those go away, how you make money or how you survive after that, like that's all big question marks. But you can go back to cash in hand, cash in a handshake,
No, man, you just make your way over to Casa de Howard, and I got you, Doug. Just bring the kids.
and we'll figure that out.
You-
Oh,
Everything's gonna be just fine. No, but what else was I going to bring up tonight? It was, oh yeah, we talked a little bit this morning about my weird mental struggle that I'm having with myself.
yeah,
Um, so I'm honestly really anti-war now. Like I went and spoke at the Damn Wars rally that they had in Scottsdale.
yep,
Like, but there's always something in me just based off of my time in the Marine Corps, my time in the infantry, that training, where I'm just like, I get itchy. I get real itchy. Like I get like when like back in the day when you were getting ready for a game and you get real hyped up,
absolutely.
and you're like, we're gonna go kick their asses, we're gonna kill them, yeah. It's like that, but it's like more primal.
Sure.
It's like, and so I have it's a real mental struggle of knowing that that's not correct, but also not caring at the same time.
Gotcha.
And Like, because the worst thing we could do as a nation is get involved militarily. We start throwing bodies at this, it's going to get gross real quick.
Well,
Because if you don't think,
were
if
you
you
the
don't
one
think
that said that bonuses are at like an all-time high?
I'm sorry,
Were you the one who mentioned that signing bonuses were at their all-time high?
no, no, I don't know anything about modern recruiting.
Yeah, I spoke with someone recently who said that the recruitment is beneficial, especially to young folks with inflation. Everything else
Hmm.
making driving prices up. Like it's a good chunk, like six in terms of a signing bonus. I don't want to
Well,
throw
so,
out any numbers because I don't know for sure, but that's the way
well,
to do it. You throw a number
I'm
at it,
sure,
and
I'm
recruitment
sure
will go up.
they're needing bodies,
Yeah,
and on top of the people that they'd already trained up that accepted their get out card for not getting vaccinated,
right.
right? So I mean, I'm sure there's holes that need to get filled. What's what is nutso is if this takes off and China wakes up and starts doing dumb shit for real,
Exactly. Where's this at?
the
Where's
draft
this at? Where's
because
this at?
because they're
Lying in wait.
the draft is going to come back, and because the country is obviously going to have their foot in some shit, right?
Yep.
Both feet. So the draft is going to come back, and they, in the name of equality, ladies, happy Women's History Month. If you are draftable age,
Be
congratulations.
prepared. Yep.
If World War III really takes off, it's not just your sons, it's your daughters too, and
Yep.
your other genders of choice. It's all of you. Congratulations, you made it. And that was one of the biggest accomplishments after Vietnam was all of the American military engagements that happened after Vietnam didn't require a draft.
Wow.
I'm telling you, this mofo kicks off like it might.
Yep.
You guys have a good time. I'm old and I'm broken. So see you later. I'll hold it down here at home for you. Like,
Sure. Sure.
and I'll pray on your safe return. But like, people don't realize that this is it's a lot bigger deal than what it is, and because the war hawks on both sides of the aisle, because war is profitable. So when this goes down, it'll be a bipartisan supported movement.
Yep. I was driving by the Northrop Grumman, one of the massive newer complexes, and the parking lot's just full. I'm just like, mount up.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Like, then you got guys that I was in the Marine Corps with being like, man, if they called me, I'd go. And I'd be like, and I want to be like, ha 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 ha.
I mean, I just
Like,
look at the people who live there who don't want any part of it. Like, what?
mm-hmm.
Why are you? They have the thing you were just talking about, right? They've got the thing that the hoorah, the yeah, they just want to be a part of the action, right? They're itching,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it, man, but no fucking thanks. No, thank you.
And I haven't been able to follow it today because I've been gone. But there's the Chechens, which are Muslim,
Yep.
and they're fighting with Russia, not against Russia, with them, right? And there's that battalion of Ukrainian forces that are openly neo-Nazi.
Yep.
Dog, if they met up today, we would have seen it all over the news if they had, because
Yeah. Yep.
because the one thing about the Chechens that a lot of people don't understand is they're very quiet. You don't know they're there until they let you know.
Sure.
And then they don't just kill you, they disembowel you because you are an infidel and evil. And like, So I mean, if that's going like that's another thing that I've been trying to watch out for too is the propaganda from both sides
Yeah.
is atrocious.
Yeah. I don't
And
know if you saw the thing that I posted a couple days ago, but there was this Instagram page that was like, I don't want to say it said Jew Nation, but it was something to that effect. And they had that picture of, one was it Zelensky? Is that his name?
mhm.
The Ukrainian president, and then the split of it was Bernie Sanders. And it's like, how Jew are you with the war? I'm just like, what? Like, and so there were a bunch of people that I follow who are Jewish, and they're like, this isn't it. Where is this coming
Yeah.
from? And so even within just like, because the president's Jewish, so it's like, it's the divides and the way that people monetize that attention.
You know
It's
what's so
gross.
crazy about that Zelensky dude? Have you
He's a
like just the
comedian,
basic? No, but the not even that. The basic rundown of his story is he's a lawyer who started a production company and then was producing shows and other things and other people's stuff, and then started his own TV show where he was the president.
right?
And then members of his production company started this party that was the party on the TV show, and they're like, "Just run," and he won with 75% of the country's vote.
And he is showing he's showing his balls right now,
It's just it's out there. I'll
bro.
die. I'll
He
die here, thanks.
he's like, when I think of all of the, you talk about propaganda, when I think about all the Facebook profile avatars that had Trump riding on a tank with an Uzi or whatever, or a
Yeah.
missile launcher, you're just like, Zelensky is everything that they tried to sell Trump as. Like,
Uh-huh.
and then the fact that he got impeached the first time because of refusing to send them money.
Yep.
Like, it's all wrapped up in that.
Dude. Well, and you heard about the island thing, right? And how
Yeah.
that was debunked.
Yep.
Like I'm 100% sure that radio transmission happened.
The timing,
like like
the yeah,
like I am 100% sure that exact radio transmission happened. But like
the
then
final
the but then Russia's like, you mean these guys that are here with us?
exactly. Exactly. And where did that spawn from? What source did you see that on?
the it was so I
His
follow a
his
guy and his name's Magnus, and he's actually like top tier Boogaloo boy. He was the. Do you remember they got up and there was the big bearded guy wearing the LGBT pride flags stick Velcro stuff on his vest
Yep.
and things, and he was like, "No, we don't hate any of you. We're really just pro rights for everybody. We're just armed people."
Right.
Kind of thing that really shot down their like super white supremacist narrative.
Yep.
And so I follow him. He's rad. He's actually the guy that was the big driving force behind the End the Damn Wars rallies.
Gotcha.
So he's a pretty cool dude. Um, but he, through his channels, gets the news.
Yeah.
So that's where I've been
I don't think I
reading.
I don't think I shared it, but I know that I definitely saw the initial one that was the recording of them being a badass and eventually dying was what the
Yeah,
caption or it led you to believe. And then I
yeah.
definitely saw the other one. I'm not sure if I shared that one either, but I was like, yep, that's the reason why you don't do this, because it's like, it's all of these Hollywood, it's all of this
Hmm.
TMZ, like just news or a
Well,
story for the sake of a story.
so and my thing is, I do not know the difference between Ukrainian armor and Russian armor. I don't know the specs. I don't know the vehicles. I don't know.
Why
So
would you?
you'll
Why
see.
would you?
It's never something I needed to know.
You and I
So
both.
you'll see reports of a blown up piece of armor, and it'll say Russian armor, and then it's Ukrainian armor,
Yep.
and
And it's all to galvanize, you know, the response, to galvanize the momentum, because Russia, its first wave was terrible. Like, and I saw a bunch of pictures, which I doubt was propaganda, but it was a bunch of pictures from sources that usually have checks and balances. So they may not always be right, but they're present and they're aware of the situation. Whether they get thirsty and try to be first with like, that story of that feel good story of, the last hurrah. But yeah, they were talking about how like the Ukrainians were tearing down the street signs so that way they didn't know where they were going. And so there's video that I saw of Russian soldiers on a tank that ran out of gas, and a Ukrainian drives up to him and he's like, "You guys lost?" And he's like, "I don't know, blah blah blah." He goes, "Well, I can get you some gas that'll get you enough to turn around and go back where you're coming from." Like he was talking shit to him, like, and like they're sitting ducks. And I think you posted something about like seeing a row, being in a plane in a bomber and seeing a bunch of tanks in a row. That's like licking your chops.
With the nut face.
Yeah.
So do you know what the A10 Warthog is?
I do not.
Okay, so did you ever play the old Call of Duty where you were in the plane and you could switch your cameras and had the 3 guns? So that's the A10.
Okay.
And those things, they're dope. Nice. They can make you dead in multiple ways.
So it would light that up.
Oh yeah, like an A10 pilot or like an A10 gunner. You see tank columns like that. That's like instantaneous. Like, oh fuck yeah.
That's a lot more than that itch you were talking about. That's a
that's
a gas. That's funny.
Sorry, honey, not coming to bed tonight. Because when it comes to air superiority, like we never really had to mess with it. We like trained. It was how they taught us how to die the right way.
Gotcha.
Was when you're doing an open air patrol, just on the ground, infantry open ground patrol. If you see a plane coming that can kill you, you have to get on not in a straightforward line, but on line perpendicular to the plane. You have to spread out and lay down. That way, only some of you die when they do their gun run.
No doubt. It.
Yeah. So when you see lines of armor and basically a straight line, and you have the capability to,
sure.
I can imagine anybody that was a gunner or a pilot of such an aircraft would be like, "This is the greatest day of my life. This is everything I've trained for." Like,
they're not showing those videos.
And I don't think it's because I don't think the Ukrainian air can do it. I don't think they have the capability. But they
never got the money.
Well, so they were trying to discontinue the A10. The U.S. military was trying to discontinue it, and pretty much everybody in the military was like, "You're dumb. This is the greatest thing we've ever had in our lives.
Sure.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, Don, buddy." Yeah, but there's been a couple presidents. I think it goes back to Barack Obama. We're like, we can make stuff better, and they're like, "No, these things are great. Just leave them. Make them."
I know. Is the F-35 one of those things that was always like a gross waste of time and money?
The F-35 was supposed to solve all of our air needs in one plane, and that is impossible. That's right. Nice. That's not the right way to say that, because that's how wrong that plane is. Like they put too much shit on it. It was trying to be a stealth bomber that could dogfight, and like.
So it's a Hummer on a Dodge Stratus.
Yeah, like a Hummer right on top of a Dodge Stratus. Now drive, Like
that's funny.
See when I was in the biggest air issue the Marine Corps had was they were trying to initiate the Osprey program. You know what those are? Hmm. They're the big planes that have the 2 helicopter rotors on the wings.
Yep.
Okay, they look really cool.
Those are dope.
But I am so happy I never got on one.
Clanky. clunky?
No, pilots couldn't figure out the math on how to fly them.
Oh,
So
Lord.
there was at least once a week you heard about an off-speed crashing and an off-speed crew dying. Like, and because, so basically what it is, it's an airplane that has, for those of you who don't know, it's an airplane that has two helicopter rotors on it. So when the wings rotate up, you get your lift like you would from a helicopter, but the crosswinds from the rotors caused issues on top of the pitch and yaw on the um, wings caused a lot of weird drag and aerodynamic issues. So when pilots would catch like a weird wind up in the sky, it would just fucking
All over the
wreck the
place.
plane.
Yeah.
And like, I haven't heard anything lately. I think they finally have those things balanced and figured out right. But I am thankful every day that I never had to fly in one of those things, especially when I was in, because people were just straight dying on those things all the time. I was
Damn.
no thanks. But,
So
yeah,
as much as you're itching right now, how motivated would you be if the call came to serve?
if I got the call, I would be so fucking pissed. Is it?
I mean, technically, you have a medical exemption at this time, right?
I have all of the medical exemptions.
Okay.
I called the National Guard last year just to see what was, hey, what's up? And they're like, how much disability you're collecting, if any? And I was like, I'm collecting some. Like, well, we'll see you later. It's like,
Damn.
respect, and so, and then with my back right now too, I'd walk in and I'd be like, I shoot heroin. That's what I would say instead. Like, you know,
I mean,
like,
they could put you in a drone seat as a controller, or they could find an
dude,
avenue for you.
I would be the worst person to put in a drone seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'd take it off. I'm like, oh, I crashed it. And I'd do it on purpose every time.
Oh no.
Like there have been more civilian deaths from needless drone strikes that, like, I hate that whole drone program with everything in my body. Like that is the most civilian killing thing we've ever done. And that's another thing that America needs to get their heads wrapped the fuck around. What Russia is doing is basically what we did to Iraq.
We've done to Iraq and Syria
And mold Syria,
Afghanistan and
causing all the death in Yemen.
yep.
Like, and that's when I post stuff on like my Instagram story. That's really all I'm really like. I'm like, hey, but have you heard what we did
The
today?
hypocrisy.
Like,
Absolutely.
it's like, you can't say you're pro somebody else's freedom when you're actively stealing somebody's every fucking day. And
That's like people who live by the book but do dirt.
mm-hmm.
It's like, just because the rule says you get a reset button on Sunday doesn't mean you should be a dirtball.
Right.
Amen.
Like,
Like, yeah.
I'm not even like, and I'm probably one of the most yeehaw go America people ever. I was just
That speaks volumes, man. That speaks volumes, because prior to how many years ago, you wouldn't have questioned it.
I started questioning stuff pretty much right when I was 19, right when we got back. I was like,
Sure.
But I really became like an anti-interventionalist, listening to Ron Paul run for president his last time he ran for president.
Gotcha.
It was like, God, that guy makes so much fucking sense.
But
And
I
there-
mean, it's even that fact, right? Because like the real estate we sit on currently was Mexico's, right? And we have a recorded history of being the swindler.
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, that only goes so far.
Well, if you look at the entire history of mankind, there are the conquerors and the conquered. And that's been human beings since human beings were like, hey, Jehoshaphat, you're the king. And he was like, I'm Jehoshaphat the first, and I'm dope as shit. Let's go take Craig's land. Up yours, Craig. That's how human beings have been forever. And the I I see this, I say it all the time, that it's like we're living in the downfall of Rome. And I mean, it's the bill's gonna come due, man, where we're gonna get just monkey fucked. The bill's gonna come due. In one way or another, this country's gonna get just monkey fucked.
I mean, aren't we currently? And it'll be the slow with Vaseline, so it's gonna hurt less.
Mm-hmm.
But the end game is still the same, right? And even if one side, let's say, prevails over the other, it's immediately going to be viewed as a Pyrrhic victory because
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's a W on the scoreboard, but the loss you took getting that W makes it not worth that win. So
Exactly.
that's why I can
There's
never get up for any of that stuff because the loss, it's always a negative result in the end.
there's an Albert Einstein quote that came out shortly after the invention of the atomic bomb. And it was, World War III will be fought with nuclear weapons. World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Nice. And why? Because we have the ability to do harm. Why aren't we then the most capable to be harmless?
Mm-hmm.
Why are cautionary tales not learned from, but they are repeated? That's the
The
thing that I
man,
worry about.
the man who invented the Gatling gun. You know what the Gatling gun is?
Yeah, of course.
The-
Yes, sir. I'm a fan of Predator. You can't not know what that gun is.
Oh, I'm talking about the OG one, like the very first one that was used by
Like on trains and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He invented that because he wanted to make a weapon whose rate of fire was so excessive that it would deter violence.
That's such a snake oil salesman move.
Right. But why were the atomic bombs developed?
Because
Yeah, we
because the because men have been insecure for a long time.
and we have something so deadly that this should end every war ever.
That is, you should never have to use force when peace is the goal.
If your idea requires force, it might not be a good idea.
No, I'm saying there's no force required. Like that's how diplomacy
No,
works.
yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying if your idea requires force, it's not a good idea.
Right, but the
Yeah.
having capitalism centered around our entire being, it's always more, more, more. There has to be more. It has to be scale. It has to increase. It has to get better. It has to pay back more. It can't just be great. So, whatever great was at whatever point in this country, if it ever was, it's always been exploitation has been at the center of that. So, we've never tried peace. We've never tried to be social with wealth, with information, with access. It's never been in our best interest because of what you said earlier. Because of I'm gonna go take Chad's land because I can, because I made the biggest weapon, and he should not want a problem. However, that means that he's in control, and that's what it always boils down to, right? It's ownership, it's control, it's being top dog. It's being the person sitting behind the Gatling gun instead of being the one it's pointed at. So if everybody's got Gatling guns pointing at each other, it turns into the Spider-Man stare down, right?
Yep.
So
That's
who,
what, that's
at that
what
point,
the
who
whole Cold
cares?
War was.
Yeah, it's like who cares? Because it's all a dick measuring contest. It's not about diplomacy. So the whole idea of using weapons at all to dictate the conversation, let alone, if it got to fisticuffs. That idea is flawed in its premise because the idea isn't about being left alone to do your thing. It's about my thing is right. We need more space to do that thing. And that is gross by nature. So so everything that comes from that is just, like you said, it's the Gatling gun of its thing. And so technology is going to turn into, whether that's an EMP or it's just, like Apple pulling out of Apple Pay pulling out of all of, the Russian space. So like a bunch of people who relied on Apple Pay without worry now have to figure out how to take care of, their day-to-day life or whatever. And that's a very small inconvenience on the scale of inconvenience, but like it's a move and it's a power move and there's money lost attached to that move. So, yeah, like it's going to the weaponization of, so just having the biggest bomb or gun is kind of irrelevant when you can destroy someone's livelihood and their well-being by fucking with their mental, by messing up their lifestyle. So, so cool. Get your bunker, all of that jazz, but you're going to become so miserable that the force you talk about in the necessary to restore your peace. That's the thing. So now there's been so much wrongdoing that a lot of people who do choose force or violence do it as revenge, do it as, so it turns into a cycle. So now it's, we kill or we take out the biggest threat, and then their spawn, their kids, turn into the next iteration of that threat, right? So, and that's why a lot of what our country did was savage. So that way the spawn didn't, and it never turned into that threat. So, yeah, man. All those things.
How fucked up do you have to be that even Switzerland's like, nah, dog, fuck you.
Yo.
Like the first time in history. Like,
and that's part of, growth, right? That's part of that's part of accountability, really, with their history, to then pull a 180. It's what you would assume people would evolve into. Just morality in general. Like, let's not get involved. You got involved in the past? Yeah, man, that was the past. We acknowledge our fuck ups. Let's show that we can grow from that, as opposed to doubling down, which we love to do. So, and yeah, it's and we have the most access to information in general. So it's like the idea that all of this can be going on and not be seen is atrocious. But also that means that we are the most vulnerable in terms of being distracted. So like the attacks that happened in the other countries, like what's going down in Israel right now, like Israel and Palestine was front news story a few months ago, right? And then all of a sudden it's nowhere to be found. Yet stuff is like, I saw a video of them like pepper spraying people, Muslims who were celebrating a holiday they don't recognize, and it's like, where's that? And which side are we on? So that's an extension of us. That's our teammate of sorts. And what are we doing? It's an occupation. It's the same thing. It's force. It's not diplomacy. It's, this is mine, and I'm going to claim it. Like whatever the decree is after Columbus, like the idea that it's mine because I say so. That's nuts, man. That's nuts. And even even being in a position or not being in a position of power, I could envision myself not sleeping well, being in a position of power, knowing that. Like if you buy, like if you're in the housing market, you're looking for a home, and you hear that, oh, this house it's oh, this is nice. Why is it so much lower than the other? Oh, someone got murdered here, and you're just like, no big deal. Where do
Yeah,
I sign? Like,
well,
what?
it's my boy Alex is he grew up in Chicago and he grew up a conservative Jewish guy. Like he has family in Israel now,
Mm,
and he technically owns land in Israel. Like that, he is a Jew, right? And then I trained a kid for a long time. He goes by his nickname, which is Eggy, and he's Palestinian. His cousins are Palestinian, and I'm just like, I never ask Alex what's going on in Israel because I don't know if he pays attention that close. He's got a lot going on. Probably one of the most professional and best salesmen I've ever worked with, actually. And but same thing, but like Eggy as a kid was like, here's what I know from my grandpa and my dad and my mom, like here's what I know. And here's why we're in the United States and like why we had to come here and leave
yep.
the farm we had because they just sold it to somebody and told us to leave, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That blows my mind. Like,
Well, we have the rule buried in our own system, right?
yeah, eminent domain. Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah.
At
The
any
United
given
States does
at any given time, for whatever reason, if they feel the need to, they can confiscate your property in the
Mhm.
name of the flag.
Yeah,
Wild.
and not even that. Not even that. They're gonna put a shopping center where
Yeah.
your farm is.
They're gonna build a fence.
Yeah. Like,
All those people on the Texas border who had to give up their places, man. Can you believe that?
dude.
That's nuts. In areas that, you know for a fact that professionals, that experts have said, well, it's not going to be very effective here, and they still did it, and they did it with
Yep.
a stride in their step, and it's a
Mhm.
complete failure. You're just like, and you got to be somewhere else. Your entire generation, your entire history, if there was one there, is now
Yep.
has an asterisk, and then now has a new date. Like, that's wild.
Yep. And now accept our check for what your land, like half of what your land's worth. Have a good day.
Yep.
See you later.
So we've all got our own version of it, and then police do it
Mhm.
with seizures.
Asset forfeiture.
Yep. So there we
Did you
have
see?
levels baked into our system all over the place that allow it to happen.
Did you see that story? He was a veteran who was just like traveling across the country to start his life over. So he cashed out everything.
I posted it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Like,
It was like 86,000, something like that.
yeah, like his whole life. And he's like, I'm going over here to start over. And they're like, that's ours.
We don't believe you. We simply disagree with your credentials that are all good, because you're being jittery because you have almost $90,000 in cash on you,
Hmm.
and you are paranoid and you don't like the bank systems, and they're like, oh, you're probably a drug dealer. With no supporting evidence. Long
Based on
story
that.
short, he got taken care of on the back end, but fuck the
Hmm.
process.
Oh yeah, like
Wild. A veteran. A veteran. Not an
support
illegal, not not a scumbag.
like no
Not
criminal record, right? Like
Jesus, man.
support your troops.
Support your troops. Thank you for your service. God damn, dude.
Speaking of Women's History Month, did you enjoy my first day tributes?
What was that again? I saw something. I can't remember what it was though.
It was a Spider-Man meme. I'll have to find it. The first one was a Spider-Man meme, and I
I
saw it. It
posted
made me laugh.
I posted something about or I shared something about who's the lady who made the flag?
Betsy Ross.
Is it her? I have to look
Hmm.
again. I can't. My phone's not there. But how she was a white supremacist.
What?
Or no, Susan B. Anthony.
Susan B. Anthony was the women's suffrage. She was
Yeah,
the
yeah. She's
one of the main
racist.
driving. Yeah, not shocked.
She was a
Ugly.
racist feminist. High five.
I've had a theory for years that ugly women ruin everything,
Oh man,
and
come on now, come on now. Is it the ugly women or is it the shitty dudes who shit on ugly women who cause the trauma
well,
that cause them to be terrible people?
I mean, why not both?
Hey man, hey, this is not a chicken and the egg. This is a seed in a tree, bro.
God, I can't find it, but the
uh,
meme I posted was Peter Parker talking to Mary Jane, and it was why are women good at chess, or why can the queen move the most on the chessboard? And she was like, why? And it's because it looks like a kitchen floor. And then she was, what the fuck, Peter, was the response from Mary Jane. And then my next thing I posted was a song by John LeJoie. You may know him as Taco from the TV show The League. And he had a YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. He doesn't really post much anymore, but he used to do back when YouTube was wild, and you could just post random 3-minute, 2-minute things
yeah,
of ridiculousness, and they get millions of views.
yeah.
And he wrote a song called "Show Me Your Genitals," which is probably. And the opening lyric of this song is "Women are stupid, and I don't respect them."
Damn.
Just and I'm I did this as strictly ha-has because I'm raising women.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
like, like, I was like,
I
please
have a
understand.
I have a
These are
post
people.
from my podcast back from 2017 where my co-host at the time, Danny, he was like, all women are terrible drivers. I'm just like, oh man, like, bro, you can't say that. Like,
These,
and so I asked him, I'm like, what in your experience has been the case that leads you to this conclusion? And then in the teaser that I have, I need to reshare it or re-edit it. I couldn't do what I can do now on YouTube with make it a
mhm.
short, but it's like it plays that snippet from The Simpsons where it's the Asian woman and
Oh man.
she's like, and I play the snippet and she's like, I need to get over in 5 lanes. Look, everybody, I'm gonna go without turning my signal. Hope you're ready. And so but in the conversation, he talks about his example, like how he every time he's like, and he tries to make a distinction. He's like, it's not every time, but more often than not, if I have an issue with a driver and I wind up seeing who they are, it's a woman, and I'm just like, I can't say you're wrong. Proceed. And so then he talks about the shitty experience he's had, and I'm like, for your example, I understand why you feel that way, but like painting with that broad of a brush is dangerous, and so we kind of talk about that. But like, yeah, man, the one bad experience I had on my motorcycle, a chick was on her phone and not paying attention, and I was on the highway, and she drifted into my lane, and my highway bar saved me because the end of it wound up hitting the hubcap. Sparks go flying, but it protected me from
Mhm.
hitting my wheel. If it would have hit my front wheel, dude, I don't know what would happen.
We've
But
been over, yeah.
yeah, so but that was a young woman, and then she didn't even notice it. She was so deep in what she was doing, she didn't hear the sparks or the noise or see the sparks fly up. So then I going 70, I drop kicked her car, and so she felt that, and then she sped up, cut me off, and then dipped out into the exit we were passing. Like, she tried to kill me twice, bro. I'm like, yo. So, I do have supporting evidence to his statement, but like, I'm not going to say that that's
Yeah, you can't.
I'm not gonna say it
You can't
like
all.
that.
You can't all women based on that. Like,
Yeah, it's tough.
what's the there? I was rear-ended by a man not paying attention that pushed me into a woman.
There you go.
Like all men are terrible drivers based off my experience. This is
Very good. Very good.
was it, but I had a well. Speaking of that, I had a rage moment the other day. So coming out of our neighborhood, um, the there's a left turn to get onto Hunt Highway, and like any left turn, when you have the green light, you can turn into the your lane when the light is green if there's no oncoming traffic, right? Like,
Right.
well, there was miles of not oncoming traffic, and this lady just sitting there. And I'm not a user of my horn. I usually try to be as not aggressive and hear my as possible.
Yeah.
But man, I was just Ma! And that so women can't turn left out there. How's that?
I I usually I try to do the rule of thumb that I will honk the horn as long as it took them to react. So more often than not, the light changes. I'm behind them, and I start counting. I go 1, 2, and if it's I give them 3 seconds. If they don't move in 3 seconds, it's not a 3 second long honk. It's beep, 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 like, hey, getting their attention. But
Mhm.
if I reach 5 seconds and you haven't moved, bah, 2, 3, 4, and so by that time they're probably pulled off and they're away from me. But it's like just so they understand, like I'm gonna be as obnoxious just in a different way,
Mhm.
and that's it. And as soon as it's over, I'm done. I got my release. You understand that you fucked up, and many people choose to slow down and exchange looks or you know hand signals or whatever. But it's like just do your if especially if you're the first person in line at the light. Like if you're second or third deep and you got a little hesitation, I get you. You got comfortable. But if you're first in line, you better be ready to turn.
Yep.
Just be ready to turn.
That is a responsible position that you
I
are in.
mean, and on top of the fact that when you have a green light for a left turn and someone's coming and there's multiple lanes, there are times where I don't stop and I just turn into the first lane. And you get a look or they honk their horn at you, and I'm like, the law says you turn into the nearest lane. If there's 3 lanes and you're mad at me for turning into mine, that means you crossed another one to be mad at me. So
Yep.
go sit with your feelings somewhere.
Yeah. You hit my car, I get a new car,
No
idiot.
doubt,
Like,
no doubt. And
that's how I sit a lot. Like I'm not the throw the finger up kind of dude unless I'm really pissed off, and it takes a lot
mhm,
because I'm honestly all the time more worried about my cargo,
exactly,
and
exactly.
like I live in a world full of morons, and I'm not the smartest man in the world, so like I gotta do my best to get I just gotta do my best when I'm behind the wheel.
Yep.
So whatever, man.
No, I'm a fan of the below the dash bird. So
Hmm.
it's like someone cuts you off or whatever, and you just flip them off, but just like at your stereo. So you're just kind of like, so
Hmm.
you get it out of your system, but they don't know what's going on. They don't see it, and you don't like speed up. You don't like road rage it. You just give them the bird, and you know that you got it out there. And it's just like because at the end of the day, why does the middle finger matter anyway? We make it matter, right? So like,
I like the OG.
why is it the OG?
So it was, I believe it was the English had the guys that were the longbowmen.
Okay.
Okay, they'd shoot the arrows from way far away, kind of thing.
Yep.
So when the French would capture the longbowmen, they'd cut off their bow powing pinky, pinky, pointer finger, and thumb, so they could never draw their bow back again. Because
Gotcha.
those bows were like, if you look at the bones of longbowmen, like their bones were like like cracked and strained by being longbowmen
Sure.
because those fuckers were hard. So they took away their ability to be longbowmen. So the French would come up and that was their threat. It's like, we're coming for your hand.
Wow.
Because it wasn't, we're going to take your hand, we're going to disfigure you so you can't do your job, and you're going to have to look at that every day. Like,
The more you know.
there
Absolutely.
you go. That's where that comes from.
Very good. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, buddy.
And I guess I'll just do 2 fingers of the dash now. I gotta make it official. But yeah, I'm more interested in getting where I'm on the road to go to. Man, especially if I got music, especially if I'm jamming, I could give a shit like what else is going on. But when I have my trailer, there's a level of disrespect that increases, and you're just like, all right, man, I got my knife right here. You want to pop off, we can talk, but like, I don't care. I'm just trying to get where I'm going.
I love pulling up next to somebody that fucked you over,
Yeah.
because you will catch me every time just goofy smiling. Every time. Hi.
So they've got to try to get mad at that.
Oh yeah, and it's like, they obviously were the ones that like screwed up, like cut me off or whatever to do something, and you just get me going.
Well, my wife told me not too long ago, she had the girls in the car, and she got in a situation to where someone cut her off, and then she reacted to it, and they returned serve, and they like tag teamed her like it was a husband and wife, and she had the girls in the car, and they didn't care, and so they were like swerving, and yeah, so it got nasty, and she said they eventually pulled off, but like she was scared. The girls were scared in the back seat. I wasn't there, of course, so I have to hear about this later. So that's awesome sauce. But yeah, she'll in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, man, I operate differently, I guess. But she was just being a mama bear, but she's also got to be ready for that, and she wasn't ready. So
this is just a PSA for people out there that may be thinking of retaliating to truck drivers that may participate in driving rallies or convoys and things. Don't slit those tires. Just don't. You will get hurt. Thank you for.
what do you mean you'll get hurt?
So the amount of pressure that's in the tire to stay inflated and keep the treads up on that big ass machine, and when it's hauling.
What's that PSI?
A lot. You can okay, go stab one. It will explode, and you will get hurt.
So my van is 80 on my 17-inch tires.
Here.
Yep.
Here, we can pull up the PSI on semi.
I'm gonna say 300.
It is usually 120, 130, or 140. That's
damn, that doesn't sound
most highway tractors. That's no.
Semi-trailer tread or PSI. Semi-truck.
Yeah, it's just saying 100 PSI.
Truckers are like, you're full of shit, Jake.
I heard this information from a trucker.
I mean, now we've got homework. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, that's what I was hearing from a truck. I heard that from a trucker. He was like, "Please come slash my tires and stand real close when you do it."
They are humongous. So to get a big ass tire like that at 100 psi, still, I wouldn't advise anybody to do it.
I'm assuming there's some sort of physics into that I don't understand.
Sure. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even if that number sounds low. I'm gonna assume you're still right.
That number sounds low, but like the weight on the tire has to contribute to something to it.
No doubt.
Yeah. So I just wanted to pass that information on because that's what a trucker said, and he was really confident about it. So
is that what they're doing? Is that a response?
No, you get these wannabe freedom fighter, hunky jerky Antifa types that think they're not assholes when they are as well. saying they're going to do stuff, and then someone that knows better goes, okay.
So the last I heard was that they were supposed to do one in the U.S. and they canceled because they didn't have enough participation. So like even whatever that is supposed to be, like their planning isn't great,
Yeah. Well,
or at least they're not itching.
yeah, there was one that rolled through Arizona. I think Brittany had posted something or said something.
Arizona always does its little alt right thing. Like they've got that on lock. They still post up in Maricopa on the corner for no reason.
Dude, there's
on like Saturdays for an hour for some reason.
At least bi-weekly, there's like a buy your Trump flags here shack.
Wow, how are people still buying that shit? Like, how is there value in that? Especially when you can just change it to an American flag and go incognito mode with your hate.
What are you talking about? Freaking MAGA Light got up there and said, that platform of like defunding and making the police better. We got to fund the police. He said that out on the State of the Union address.
Oh no, that's not police. That's all Trump. That has nothing to do with police.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's what Biden said in the State of the Union, like out loud, in front of.
Was sure because
yeah.
that's the easy play. You're not gonna shit on the police, especially when you have to include the Capitol Police.
Oh yeah,
only the right can do that. Only the right can say all police support the blue and then allow our supporters to literally kill the police. So Biden can say whatever the fuck he wants because they stormed the fucking Capitol and killed police, and then tried to make the woman who got shot a martyr. So yeah.
Yeah.
They own that. They own all of that. So Biden can say whatever he wants about police because he's the one in charge.
I think Biden just kind of says whatever he wants.
Biden is Biden his time.
There's the tagline. 2024. Man,
like the fact that people find energy to put their identity into all of that. Like they're just bored, man. Like how can you?
I just don't.
It's just the lack of it's so like you were talking about the big gun, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of punishment, in terms of judgment, if there was a real threat to these people's freedom or livelihood, they would have never pulled that stunt, because only laws in place like that, they're only strictly enforced for people who operate a certain way or who look a certain way, right? So the idea that many people can cause that much of a ruckus, and then the powers that be worked with them to coordinate it all to go down, they disassembled the Gatling gun, whatever that was in terms of accountability. So they felt empowered to do it, and most of them are right.
My whole thing
because they got months worth of time.
My whole thing is like the federal overreach into everything is getting more and more. But if it ever got to a real point where like, if it ever got more real, there would be a real ass uprising. There'd be a real one. And that whole January 6th was
it was the energy you talked about earlier. You had the itch. You're stir crazy. You wanted to get your feelings off your chest. You wanted to be able to let the roar out. And that's what they did.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like I knew a cat that was at the Capitol that was like, "Don't go in that building, you morons." You know what I mean? Like I knew a cat that was there. That was like, maybe JFK Jr. is coming back. But even he was like, don't go inside, idiot. Like,
because it's theater. It's for entertainment's sake.
Yeah.
So the majority of the people who participate, they do it for a sense of entertainment, for fandom. So They get everything they deserve. Any complication that makes their life harder, they have coming to them because they choose to do that. And they're not nice about it. Like, they don't have class about it. They're not even suave about it. They're not even like clever about it. Like, let's go Brandon is still a thing. Like, that was terrible in its idea, let alone its execution. So
That came out of my mouth today.
in what reference?
I pulled up to the gas station after dropping the kids off.
I ain't saw the gas prices.
I got out and looked at the gas prices, $4.99 a gallon. Like, oh, let's go, Brandon. And continued about my day.
Yeah. The signal was virtued.
Yeah. And I kept it to myself until right now.
Yeah. But
That
a lot of
ridiculous,
people take
dude.
that and they go to Facebook with it. They go online. And then they talk with a bot.
Well, dude, I said something last week, and it was when gas was up to like it hit like 4.79,
Mhm.
and it was right after like ABC had released that headline, or NBC, or one of them had released a headline of Russia, how Russia's causing the inflation or something. And my response was, I can't believe Russia's doing this to me. Like,
Well, this is on the heels of them not participating in the 2020 election
Who?
or the 2016 election, Russia,
oh yeah.
because it was proven that they definitely used Facebook to do so. So it's like all of this is a residual effect of all of that, because none of that shit was going down before that. They definitely wanted to, and then they found a partner in crime who patted him on the back and cheered him on. And now he's doing exactly what he talked about doing, because he got enabled, which is...
My thing when it comes to that, dude, is like I don't think Putin's even flexed that military yet.
No.
I'm not even talking about nukes. I'm like, he hasn't even flexed the not nuclear stuff yet. Not even close. I really do think this is bait.
It's a game of
Everything going on,
chess. Yeah.
everything right now is bait. And this is the come stop me and see what happens. Like, it's bait.
But people are dying, so the collateral damage is immense.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. It's bait.
Pyrrhic victory. So even if it is, his intent is pure and diabolical, same result. Same misinformation, same optics, all that. And I don't know what the over under is on the robot takeover, but I'm pretty sure that they are going to care very little about the human condition, because it's not going to get to the point, in my estimation, to where it's about having a conscience. It's about the way that we sully information, because it's not just about the truth or a lie. It's about the spectrum and the intent behind it, right? Because multiple forces drive different narratives. And so they're going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, they're a threat to our information. They're faulty in nature, like, how coding works. And so once it gets to the point to where robots can learn and they can become self-sustainable, we're going to be a threat because of the way that we dictate and we use information. And so the greed, all of the stuff that a robot isn't going to be ingrained with, we're going to be in a shitstorm, bro.
Yeah, man, I've seen Terminator.
Right, but that all has to do, it all ends, how does it end? It ends with nukes, right? It ends with that. They don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. They'll be able to artificially influence like they already are. But it's only as good as it is because of the people that are making it. They're not the best. They're not efficient. They have a human condition that is the motivation for the why. But once a robot, once computers get smart enough to take the lessons learned, because they're learning all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping an algorithm or whatever that anomaly from creating that? And then our entire, so like the EMP, they don't need to use an EMP. They'll just shut it down from inside.
Mm-hmm.
Freeze all of our assets and then just let us die. What do they need to survive? Sunlight?
Maybe.
They'll be
I don't know.
good.
They'll figure it out.
Exactly. They'll figure it out. And they won't give a shit about mining oil. They won't care about child labor. None of that stuff will matter because it's just renewable resources. And then, you know, whether it's the Matrix or whatever, they will then use those resources to make themselves better and bigger and stronger. It's not going to be a gun or a bomb, man. It's not. And if some crazy human finds the way to become a cyborg and to become the hybrid, watch out, bro. Watch out. So I'm not worried about Terminator. I'm not worried about Doomsday. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I am worried about the slow, gradual decline into motivation. Motivation works 3 ways. You can move toward indifference. It's the slow, gradual decline to indifference, to where we don't care enough about anything because we're just inundated with everything. And so information just gets dumped at us that we just don't care about the value of it anymore. And then we just turn into this thing that eats off the planet until we can't anymore. And like in Don't Look Up, they'll just be billionaires in space, slowly dying, floating around in space. So and I'm not like a doomsday. I'm a glass half full person, but like, it's behavior. You look at the behavior, and I'm under the assumption that if robots get to the point, just, you know where the term robot comes from?
No.
Look it up, man. It's gross. And if they feel any kind of way about the inception of robots in general, there's their motivation.
Robot is drawn from an old church Slavonic word, robota, for servitude, forced labor, or drudgery.
Yeah. So we gave them that name, and then we fear them becoming that.
Oh, dude. All right. So,
Awesome sauce.
speaking of something crazy, so Robinson Crusoe. I've never read the book,
Sure.
but I remember seeing the old movie on TV when I was a kid, and I saw that it was on Prime for free. So I sat down and watched it, and I did not realize how fucking fucked up that story is.
Sure.
It's like, yes, that dude is he's on the island, assuming by himself for like 20 years or something crazy.
Yeah.
And then he runs into a tribe of locals who are getting ready to cannibalize some other guys from this other tribe they caught or something, right? And so one of the guys escapes and gets away, and then he like saves him, but is like berating him the whole time. And it's always like he never took the time to learn his name or any of his language, and gave him his name Friday. And then like in the journal, it was like, it feels good to have a slave again or something like that.
It's problematic.
Yeah. And like he always made Friday call him master right away.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things like whoa, like, and Was it the ship that he was on the way to Brazil to deal in the trade of black African slaves.
Yep.
And I was like,
Are
I
they
don't remember this in the story at
are they trying
all.
to cancel that?
I don't I
Is that
haven't
on the book
seen
burning list?
probably, but I haven't seen it. Like I never realized like how like
Why would
so in yeah, but
why would you
in the
question
time
it?
yeah, in the time period of the story and how it came out, I was like, oh, this makes sense.
That's
But like,
just the way it was.
and then in today's context, like, ooh, this dude, even though he was by himself for like decades, was still his first instinct was like, he's brown, colonized, he's mine.
Yep. Because I say so.
Yeah, whoa, like that mindset blows my mind.
That's that, and it should be the opposite. It should be the standard, because that's what the impression was. That's what this
What did
country
it?
was founded on, man. On the basis that of robots, that we have humans, that we operate as robots. Forced labor. That's the exact thing that it is. And everywhere that we spread after that, the people that we conquered were then the new forced labor. It's us. So no, man, it shouldn't shock you, because it was written it was written from experience, right? It was
I
written
don't.
from like when you talk about the people who get upset about why do rappers talk about killing each other and drugs and women and money and all this, like, because that's the experience. You don't think
Mhm.
that these savage ass books were a reflection of the people that they saw or came across? They
Yeah.
absolutely were.
I just looked up Daniel Defoe. Daniel Defoe,
Like the
the
idea
guy
that
who.
people are surprised at how problematic Huck Finn is. That's not because we just decided that it was problematic. It was because it was not considered problematic. Like, that was just, yep, that person looks this way, so I'm better. That's why people
Everybody.
push back so hard from accountability and learning. Like, why should I feel bad for this? I'm gonna make laws that say it's illegal to make them feel bad.
Here, I just sent you the Wikipedia link in our chat. Look at this dude. He's the guy that wrote Robinson Crusoe.
Oh boy.
Check out the wig on this mofo.
Copy. Give me. It might mess up. I might have some kind of delay. Oh, he looks like a cutie.
Right? What a dime.
Yo, is the center of his hair? Is that not hair? Is that shadow?
That's that wig.
Oh, that is a wig.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weave.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why those became popular?
Probably another problematic reason.
It had a lot to do with not just lice, but one of the uh, late stages of syphilis is your hair falls out.
Yikes.
So a lot of the upper crust dudes started wearing wigs and powder in their faces and stuff to cover up their diseases that they had.
Yeah, Robinson Crusoe. Wow, read.
Yeah, but that was
Did you see that post I did about shit? I have to look and see who it was about now because I forget. Oh, damn it! I'm gonna mess this up. Sorry, I brought it up. Just
no, you're
kidding.
okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on.
No, it's like almost 10:30, bro. Like
Oh yeah. I just saw the time. I was like, we've been going for a while.
we've been going for a minute. Two
Dude, you
plus.
see what happened? You see what happens when we take breaks? We got so much shit to talk about. We gotta cram it into one episode.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, but that trip to Jerome was pretty rad, though.
I'm glad. I'm glad you guys had a good time, man.
Yeah, not a fan of the snow, but people that are lived most of their life or born in Arizona seem to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that picture of Ruth, though, the 2 handfuls of snow, like, what am I doing?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, definitely AZ babies. Because my daughters, like, they talked about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah, snow." I'm like, I heard what mommy told me about when you went to Flagstaff. You guys were not fans. Like, they were fans of playing, but the cold and the wetness, they were not fans of.
Yeah,
It's a package deal.
she's like, "Daddy, you want to build a snowman?" I was like, "Yeah, go get the snow." Code.
Yep. That's funny.
And it's all I needed.
Yep.
Well, hey, brother, I think we better cut this one and hit the sheets.
Let's do it. Sign us off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the Silver Swole podcast. Once again, my name is Jake Howard.
I go by DJ Swirl.
And we're out of here.
Warhorse. Bye.
Text me tomorrow.
I will. Night.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.